Welcome, everyone. We're also pleased that you could join us today. We've got more than 90 of us registered for today's webinar on lessons learned from AWCI's first 2 peer safety reviews. So we've got 8 panelists for you who are going to present their findings, each of whom participated in one or both of the first 2 peer safety reviews. So just to get this thing started, we'd like to provide you with just kind of a little background on the peer safety reviews. And for that, I'm going to introduce you to 2 gentlemen. The first is AWCI Safety Directors Committee Co-Chair Ed Hanley. Ed is the Director of the Safety for the Raymond Group. He's responsible for developing and implementing all the elements of the Raymond Safety Program. And Ed's got more than 25 years of experience in the industry overseeing safety operations. The other gentleman is Mr. Matt Taylor. Matt is a former chairman of AWCI's Safety Directors Committee, and he's currently the Corporate Safety Director at OCP Contractors. Matt has more than 30 years in the occupational safety and health business, including some time as an OSHA inspector. So Ed and Matt, thanks both of you very much for your leadership, guys. And you all have the floor.
Thanks, Pete. I appreciate the introduction, and I did want to thank AWCI for putting the webinar together and allowing us to kind of share our experience and our thoughts about the peer review. But before we get to that, I did want to share a little bit about how we got to be this group, and the guy there next to me, Matt, is really the genesis behind it. And Matt, maybe you can share how we got to where we're at right now.
Sure. So quite some time ago, seems like yesterday, we happened. Ed Sellers was president of our company, happened to be the president of the AWCI at the time. And coming through the years, I felt like we just weren't getting enough at the AGC. You get in with general contractors, and of course, you're hearing their perspective of how it should be safe on the job site. And there wasn't really any kind of organization in which drywall contractors could get together. And so I mentioned to Ed that why doesn't the AWCI have a safety committee like the AGC? It's something that we can have our own lobbyists in Swanton when regulations are being made, and we can get a voice in the door. And he said, go with it. And I didn't know who to reach out to, and the first name he was giving me was the Raymond Group. And so I called Ed and said, hey, Ed, what do you want to do to get this thing going? It was kind of a pipe dream way back then, and we just threw our heads together and we just, what kind of value can we bring to the AWCI? What would make this safety group different than any other safety group you all may belong to? And one thing we have in common is being that drywall contractor, the guy who gets into difficult situations, and how are we topping out when the mechanical guy's in our way, and who really cares? And all these kind of conversations that just kind of stemmed, and we got into talking about what kind of value do we bring. And it's really, hey, why not monitor each other? Why not kind of look out for one another? How can we help each other in our programs? And I think that's where this peer group review came from. And I think I just threw it out there as a general idea, and Ed kind of ran with it. And so I'm going to let you talk about the peer group review and how we got started there, Ed.
While Matt made a key comment there about what separates us and why is this group different than any of the other groups and committees you could potentially be a part of. And, we really wanted to create a sense of community and have an investment from the membership, the participants in the group, that we're really here to help each other out. And I can honestly say that whether it's Matt or Mike or any of the other members on the team, Cheryl and Pete, if I needed something and I had a question or I had a challenge I was just struggling with, I could reach out to any one of them, and they'd be right there to help. And there were some challenges that we initially kind of ran out and tried to start tackling, and from silica to helmets, how do we manage and talk to the general contractors so that it's a positive approach for us, and yeah, the peer review is one of those things also, and fortunately for us, the person who raised his hand first unfortunately isn't here with us, but Jared Danstrom with Daley's Drywall is the first company that we went and did a peer review of, and I feel pretty confident to say that it was a pretty good experience for Jared and for Daley's Drywall, and then the next company that got in line was South Valley Drywall, and Pete Salazar, who is here with us to kind of share their experience. We want to continue to see this group grow and have new participants, new members join us and come on board and help share your ideas and grow us. That's how we're going to get better, is getting more participation from the rest of the AWCI membership. But I think before I steal too many people's thunder about the peer review, maybe we hand it over to Pete and let Pete share his experience.
Yeah, just one last comment I'd like to throw in there.
Sure.
As we're going through this, you may not want to do the review, but look at maybe getting on one of these teams. And I will tell you, I've been part of both of them. And as a reviewer, I have gained more and brought back more to my organization. And I've learned more from not only the people that you're reviewing, but the people that are part of that committee that you're spending a few days with each other and you're sharing ideas. And I tell you, I've gotten more out of this peer review and value brought back to my company than any other conference I've been to in the 30 plus years I've been doing this. And that's hands down, I will not miss it. I'll step down and move aside so someone else can do it, but my hand's going to be raised and say, if you don't have enough, I'll go. But definitely worth the value of either being reviewed or being part of the review team. There's no doubt about it.
Agreed, Matt. I can definitely share that sentiment, that as much as we were there to help and share with the companies that we visited, I know that myself have learned and brought back many things to the Raymond Group that I learned from the companies that we went and visited, and I wouldn't have traded those experiences for anything. So, with that, Pete Salazar, it's your turn to share.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Pete Salazar, and I've been with South Valley Drywall for the past 25 years, of which those 25 years, 22 of them have been in the risk safety department. I oversee the training, implementation, workman's comp of the company. When I first met Matt and Ed, it was at an AWCI convention back in 2018. Ed was there on behalf of the Raymond Group, who was there to be presented with a prestigious award of exceptional safety, given because of their safety program allowed them to be recognized nationwide. And well, Matt being an ex-compliance officer, I mean, what else can I say about him? He's a walking thesaurus, encyclopedia, dictionary of everything that has to do with the construction industry. And when I got the call, I was like, hey, by the way, we're planning on coming out here to visit you guys and visit your program, do some site audits and whatnot. I mean, it really, I was really nervous. It's like, okay, I've dealt with safety professionals here locally. My experience with them was they're out for their company. They wouldn't share any other information. And that's what was really nervous about having these guys come in and sit down and review our safety program. And I was nervous. I was nervous up until the day they arrived. Well, when the team arrived, I was really skeptical. It's like, how can I compete? How can I stand side by side with these safety professionals, that they have done it for so many years, that they're getting national recognition? What am I going to be, once this is over? How am I going to be able to compete with these guys? And I wouldn't say compete, but how can I stand side by side with these guys, shoulder to shoulders? Because their companies are huge. We're talking, our company is merely 140 employees. These guys, some of them pushing over 1,000 employees. So it's like, what can we do, to be up there with the big leagues with these guys, And after the grueling 3 days with the team, I was really glad that they came out. because they really took their time. They really looked at our safety policy, our procedures, our injury logs and whatnot. Things that I thought that were being done right. These guys took it and they explained it to me in a way that made me understand. It's like, hey, wait a minute, you need to take time and you need to focus on this or do it this way. They share so much information that from the day that they left, I'm still using some of that information that they provided and implementing that to our programs, to better our programs. And it's not only for our programs, it's to better our employees. You know, bottom line, each and every individual that came and visited us this past summer, their main goal is to make sure that their employees go home safe every day. And that's our goal. That's our whole entire purpose, is to assist these guys, give them the tools, give them the training that they can go out and do the job safely. And if we're able to accomplish that every day, I know I can sleep much better at night. You know, and I just want to thank every one of these guys that came out and did their part and helped us out and helping me out better myself with the company. But I would like to especially personally thank Matt Taylor, because once the committee was done presenting their findings, Matt actually stood behind. It's like, all right, I'm here. What do you need? What can I help you with? Here's what we do. Here's how we do it. And even until here at the end of the year, Matt called me, Pete, I've got some training coming up. You're more than welcome. He's still offering his assistance. Each and every one of these guys, I really thank you guys for allowing time to come in and doing what you guys did and opening my eyes up to other ways of how training should be done and can be done to assist and better our employees. So again, I do recommend that you guys open your doors, allow the team to come in and assist you with your program. And your program might be the best out there, but we can always learn from one another. Whether we learn from you guys or we learn from them, it's beneficial. Thank you guys for doing that. Thanks for selecting South Valley as one of the companies to come and audit.
Pete, thanks for sharing. And we all truly appreciate that you guys opened your doors for us and allowed us to come and visit. But I'd like to turn it over to Mike Hill and let Mike share his experience also.
Awesome. Thank you, Ed, for that those insights. Mike Hill, Senior Manager of Corporate Safety for Performance Contracting Group. I have the opportunity to lead a team of 12 regional safety team members across our 46 branches nationwide. And truly, I can say that I've been blessed with the opportunity with the AWCI and the peer review. I've been on both of the reviews, starting back with Matt and Ed. That was the first one that we had was at Daley's Drywall. And it was my first meeting with AWCI. I had no clue what was happening, anything like that. We met the first night, walked through a lot of the information that we were going to be overseeing the next few days of a comprehensive review of the office and field, and then ultimately putting the reports together. And I can truly say that I've been blessed by that opportunity. There's a lot of information, a lot of great things that have came out of both Daley's Drywall and South Valley Drywall on both of these peer reviews. A couple of those I'll hit today. I'll start with Daley's. I think it was evident from the start with Jared Danstrom came in. I think he had the same sentiments as Pete, that these other organizations are coming in, maybe finding some faults or some gaps, but truly what it shifted to is some of the successes, because I think that every one of us is very successful in our operations for different reasons, and we can continue to learn from it. I'll also start with leadership support. So, Brittany Daley ended up attending the closeout meeting. The leadership support given by the highest of these operations is incredible. Travis Vapp with South Valley Drywall was there from the kickoff, walked all the way through the closing, sat in some of our meetings, had great open discussion around what it is that makes them tick and what makes them successful for the safety front. To go with that, Pete and Jared, incredible safety professionals, and you can tell that their leadership is well developed within their organization. They're well respected, and they're constantly challenging themselves to get better. I think the next thing that I'd like to hit on is training mechanics. Training looks different for every single one of us, and that was one of the big takeaways that I had. Not only with the two operations that we've had the opportunity to do a peer review on, but also the members that were there. So, you know, Ed sharing his what they do as an organization, as well as Matt sharing what he does as an organization. That was the first time that you know, kind of opened our eyes to what it can be. The other thing around the mechanics is it can look different. You know, we do something totally different at Performance Contracting with foreman's trainings and field trainings. But I really like what South Valley does, you know, in bringing all their team in for an annual training. They do their own Focus 4. That was a really awesome thing that we got to learn about. And I know that their field employees truly respect that. And then, you know, innovation. I think that this is something where every single one of us, we share some of the same struggles. We're all in the ceiling and drywall industry, and, you know, the professionalism. You heard Matt talk about going to like an AWCI, and you're talking to general contractors, and that's great for a networking opportunity. But truly, our struggles are a little bit different on projects with personnel and all of those things. And so the innovation that came out of this group and just the development, not only of what we're looking at, but how the reports come back in the team that comes in and does these peer reviews is really incredible. From the first review that we did in Daley Drywall to the South Valley Drywall here we did last year, you know, it's truly an opportunity to get your program looked at by others. And then honestly, from our perspective of the peer review team, you know, actually going out and being able to see how things can be done elsewhere for the betterment of industry. And, you know, we're all in this together. It's really, truly an honor to be part of the team, and then also to be able to have the sponsorship from AWCI. So I would also second and recommend Pete's comment about signing up for a peer review. I know that we will be on that list to make sure that we have a peer review as well. So thank you.
Mike, thanks for sharing. Brian Johnson with the Raymond Group will be our next team member to share.
Thanks, Ed. My name is Brian Johnson, area safety for Raymond here in NorCal. I was lucky enough to be a part of both groups at Daley's Drywall and at South Valley Drywall in Colorado. And a couple things that we got to bring back and that we really saw from both places, different ways of kind of getting to the end for both. A couple things that I think we saw that were pretty consistent were vision alignment. One was to make sure that the company's vision of safety and their safety goal was being carried out from the very top of the company down to the very bottom of the company, you know, president, CEO, all the way down to stocker scrapper or a very low level employee coming in to make sure that that vision was the same. And hopefully the guy at the top and the guy at the bottom have the same, and everybody in the middle is running the same as well. So we got a chance to see what the vision was and then kind of see how it played out in the field. Also was kind of practice versus preach. You know, what is being said in meetings, what documentation says, what the IIPP says, what's being said in tailgates, is that being carried out in the field on a day-to-day basis? I think as safety managers, especially if we're in charge of more than a few sites, it's kind of hard to keep your finger on the pulse sometimes and know that all this stuff is getting done. So I thought it was beneficial not only for ourselves, but for the companies that we went and saw, just to kind of read that pulse for them and see, hey, this is what we saw. I think this is working for you. Maybe we can do this. Maybe you should think of doing this to get a better reaction from the crew. And the last was motivation. I think motivation is really key in any safety program. It's kind of the what's in it for me theory. there has to be some sort of driving force behind what we're doing. And our job was to figure out what that is. I think we saw two very different ways of approaching that. And one was more of a incentive-based program with goals to work towards within the company. The other was to kind of a more personal approach of different ways of talking with employees and really trying to get down to the root of why we're doing safety. Both are effective, but it was very good to see just that, different ways of getting to the end. What I thought was really good for the group was to be able to kind of share some of our own experiences, job sites, personalities that we deal with. And then just for me personally, like Mike Hill said, to kind of work with some other safety professionals around the country and really see how people are getting it done in other areas. Not only was it great for the companies that we visited, but it was great for, I think, all the companies that participated in the program. I think it's very beneficial to any company just to kind of, get that pulse of what's going on. Sometimes what we see and what we hear in the field is not what's really going on. And it's always nice to get a new, fresh set of eyes out there to see, hey, here's my first glance, here's kind of what I'm looking at. And then talk about it and talk about ways to get better or improve and go from there.
Thanks for sharing, Brian. Next up is Sabrina Smith.
Thank you. My name is Sabrina Smith. I work for the Raymond Group. I'm their risk manager. I've been here for about 10 years now. I work in our safety department and manage all of our incidents and workers' compensation claims. I was fortunate enough to be on the second peer review for South Valley Drywall. One of the lessons learned we had when looking at this company's safety program was some of their documents were dated or even missing. For example, they had a really robust IIPP, however, it was kind of outdated, and some of the items were irrelevant and even unnecessary. The good thing we learned from this company in particular is that they have a really strong culture, and their employees were motivated about safety and improving their own safety. So that was a great thing to see. One of the recommendations that we gave during the review was to avoid was to update their safety documents annually to avoid potential OSHA violations. One of the issues with having too much information in your IIPP is, if OSHA conducts an investigation or an audit and your company is not following everything to a T, you can potentially be cited. We actually did this at Raymond a few years ago. We sat down with an OSHA attorney and went through every single page that we had just to make sure that we were following everything that we had and not putting too much information that could potentially hurt us down the road. It was really a great experience to be a part of this review. I want to thank AWCI for letting us do this and for South Valley Drywall for letting us go in and look at all their documents being open and vulnerable. And it was a really cool and neat experience.
Thanks for sharing, Sabrina. George, you're up.
Hello, everyone. What can I say that everybody has not touched on it today? I think overall, there's this phrase that I guess some of you might heard is called fear of missing out. All I can tell you is that this is a tremendous opportunity for everyone to get a benefit out of this AWCI experience, because as everyone mentioned here on the call, there's a lot to walk away. There's a lot to walk away, a lot to learn. I think one of the hiccups that we all have as a member is sometimes struggling with time. My name is Jorge Vasquez. I've been with Merrick Brothers for 25 years, I guess, for the insurance department working. I kind of keep up with all the risk management and safety, writing standards and reviewing accidents. And joining this group was my first time actually for the peer group review. And what I find out is I felt so welcome in so many ways by the members. I felt so related to Pete coming from the field and then joining the force, kind of helping out leadership when it comes to safety. And if I can say something that I have learned, there's three things that sort of kind of pop in my mind. Is one of them, every company struggles to understand their culture. And what I mean by that is you go through phases, right? You have your field workers, then you bring people new that come into your projects, whether it could be so many ways. It could be like in their case related to us, residential and commercial, two different worlds. Understanding that and how something, finding out that whatever you teach in one place might not be the same thing in another one. Even when it comes to safety, there's different industries that they're so relatable to safety. I think there's a good thing to walk away when you start thinking about, well, if we talk about culture, how is our office culture, right? Is there a plan for training? So there was a lot there. I think that's when I talked to the whole group. It was everybody has some sort of struggles in so many levels to understand their culture, but yet there's a good benefit. And what I was thinking about this today, hearing everybody talk, you know how sometimes you log into YouTube to look for a tutorial on how to do something? It takes time. It takes searching. It takes, kind of seeing people talk and teach you all these new things to do. When you join this group, and if you participate with this group, all I can say is all those tips and information is just right in front of you. Having sources like Matt, Southwest Drywall, Southeast Drywall, all these different companies that kind of provide some of this information of what they're doing is just so beneficial. And I think if you're not participating, you're missing out, because there's great resources that you can walk away. And that's what the industry is, just to feel that we're not alone. That I know we all have friends that sometimes we call when we have a question and they might seem to know a little bit better. I can tell you honestly, this is the group. This is a group that everyone should make an effort to say, how do I get involved with a review like this, or even participate in one as well, because there's so much to learn. And it also helps leadership. Sometimes leadership finds themselves in a situation where they're driving the message. They're making sure their company is just doing the best they can. That was the case on our visit. We found out a lot of innovation, a lot of great things that we walked away. But yet, you can tell where leadership is working on nurturing some of their team members, making sure they're not alone, kind of distinguishing the difference between just being a team member versus being a participant, right? Where you get to also help out, spread the safety message, spread the safety culture, understanding some of the aspects. I remember a moment during our review with the team that we had a pretty passionate discussion about policies and who's doing what. And when we started interviewing some of the members, there were some good reflections on it. Like, is Pete the only safety guy? It's like, no, everybody's involved in this, but yet they're starting evaluating how much participation, how much accountability was on all levels, right? And it was pretty much between the owner, the main guy, and the safety guy. And everybody participated in the middle, but the ones that were more informative or more aware of a lot of things was obviously the guy driving the message and the safety guy. And all those in betweens were like, oh, wow, that's good to know. Or yeah, I used to just pick up the phone and call Pete. But then all those questions started kind of asking from us and from them is like, how is the leadership structure at each location, at each of our companies? How are they being accountable for the message? How they are being a participant when it comes to being part of something like this? So all I can say is I feel blessed for the opportunity to help out and learn, because I think that's what I took more from learning than I guess bringing to the table. There's lots of good resources, lots of great people, lots of tips that any company will benefit from. And I will say, just in short, everything that everybody talked about it today is just a testimony that there are great benefits, and those are not involved are probably missing out, and a great opportunity to maybe involve others that can join the group. That's all I have.
George, thank you very much for sharing. I'd like to welcome my fellow co-chair with the Safety Directors Group, Cheryl Berman.
Thanks, Ed. Well, just like George just said, I'm not sure that I'm going to bring anything additional to the table, but I do want to reiterate that leadership is really the common theme between the two peer group reviews that we did. Introduce myself, although Ed kind of introduced myself. I'm Cheryl Berman. I'm the risk manager for the Brady companies. Brady for about 7 years. I've been in risk management for, we'll just say, decades. So anyway, getting back to my bullets, I found that the two companies that we reviewed were very different in their culture. They're geographically different. Their business models are different, but the leadership support was common. And I think that it's been expressed, I think, with maybe everybody that's talked today, that leadership is the key element. If you don't have leadership supporting the safety effort, then it's an uphill battle. The other thing that I really like about this group is that even though in some cases we are competitors, we have a mutual goal to have a safe work environment for our people and to have best practices for our industry. So that's something that I hope that all of the members at AWCI embrace and reach out to other members for, looking for common practices that are best practices, and that you consider being a part of one of these reviews. I think that Pete started it off with saying that he was grateful for the opportunity, and I am as well. And I think that all of the people that participated in these reviews are grateful for the opportunity, because it's an eye-opener. I mean, there's more than one way to look at something and to hear more perspective from different areas. I think that it just helps you grow. So anyway, I am grateful for that. Jared Danstrom, we have mentioned his name intermittently throughout the day or throughout the hour. And I want to read something that he emailed to the group. He's unfortunately had a scheduling conflict and could not participate on the panel, but he wrote that just know that one of the best things I've ever done in my safety career is allowing the peer review panel in our doors. To this day, Daley is benefiting from suggestions made by the visitors. I grew as a leader, and it made my path to promote better safety culture very. At times, it can be overwhelming to be leaders in safety for our employers. However, the assistance that safety peer review offers will jumpstart your program, or if nothing else, will confirm you've built a solid safety culture already and know to carry on. So I thought that was very poignant, and I wanted to share that with you today. And I'm going to turn it back over to Ed.
Cheryl, thank you for sharing, and thank you for bringing that comment from Jared up with everyone. I thought that was really important, and I'm really happy that he sent that to us yesterday. And I think with that sentiment, everyone heard from Pete today and from the team, and Cheryl just shared with us some thoughts from Jared Danstrom at Daley's that we encourage you to open your doors and raise your hand and have a peer review of your company, and we will learn and grow with you, and hopefully you can bring something back to your company. But we wanted to leave a few minutes for any questions of the audience. I think we were told we've got about 90 members on the call today, and we wanted to be able to answer any questions that you may have.
How do you choose the companies that you do the peer reviews for, and then where are you heading next?
Great question. I think someone's just got to raise their voice as far as wanting to get the peer review. I don't know that we have a formal process yet. Maybe that's something we could develop, but I think as far as where we're going next, I saw Matt chime in there for a second. I believe it's in Northern California, J&J Acoustics. I believe Rick Wood is a member of our group, and he's raised his hand to have us come in. Is that right, Matt?
Yeah, that's correct. Right now, we don't have no one banging on the doors, but this thing's starting to get loud. And just to kind of throw it out there, one of the things that we're throwing back and forth, of course, I'm east of the Mississippi, and most of the team, the rest of the team, besides Mike, he's all over the place. But most of the team is on the west of the Mississippi. So one of the things that this team is actually considering, if we can get enough members that want to start with the peer reviews, is actually maybe potentially having two teams, team that's east of the Mississippi and a team that's west of the Mississippi, which would allow for more peer reviews. So this is a 3-day process. It's 3 whole days. And so getting more members would allow us to actually do more peer reviews. But right now we're trying to possibly do 2 next year. Is that correct?
We are calendared for 2 for this year. J&J Acoustics is the first, and the second later on in the year is the Raymond Group. So we're going to invite you in, and so we have those 2 scheduled and calendared already for this year. But Matt's correct. We're looking to grow this group, have an East Coast team and a West Coast team, and look to potentially have 4, 2 on the East Coast side with that team, maybe do some in the Midwest and the East Coast, and same with the West Coast team. That's our long-term goal, and we're hoping to grow the group and achieve that.
I guess we didn't really answer the question. Call Pete. Tell Pete you want to get on the list, and I'm sure we'll make room.
There you go.
Cal, let me just chime in here. Pete Cheney here, guys. Yeah, thanks very much. So tentatively, we've got J&J Acoustics tentatively scheduled for May sometime, and then the Raymond Group tentatively scheduled for August sometime. TJ McCartney's on the list. If you'd like to get on this list, all you have to do is shoot me an email, and it's just chaney@awci.org. And Tal, if there's a way you can maybe put that up somehow, that'd be great. And we'll get you on the list, and we are going to come up with a much more formal process for selecting when and where. Thanks.
Someone was asking how much does it cost for their company to do the peer review? And then I think you touched a little bit about that, like how long is the duration of the review?
Matt just mentioned 3 days, and it's a good thorough investment of 3 days. Reviewing in the office, going out and a team going out in the field and doing some field review of some projects. As far as cost, to my knowledge, Pete, please chime in. I don't know that there's cost associated with it. At least it's not brought to mind.
Yeah, the cost really isn't on the company getting reviewed. The cost is really coming from the reviewers. So our companies are sending us just like we would be going to a conference and sending us out there. So it's, for OCP, it's the cost. The cost really is on OCP, my hotel, my food allowances, or whatever there is. For the company, the cost is really the disruption, if you will, and it's not a big disruption, but it's just a disruption of the team coming in and having us there. So there's really no cost to the company getting reviewed. Cheryl, looks like you got something on that.
Well, I popped in because I wanted to make sure that you added that it is the time that you're taking people away, but it's like paying it forward to your success. The other thing is 3 days sounds intimidating, but that's including travel time and things of that nature. So as far as solid time with your crews, I would say it's 2, maybe 2 and a smidge, because we did the presentation on the last day, but we were only taking up 2 hours on that last day. So
Good point.
So how do you join the committee that's doing the peer review?
I think if you're interested in joining the committee, as far as being on the team to go do the peer review, I think we're looking for active members in the committee, and come and joining some of the meetings that we're having, whether it's at Expo or some of the leadership meetings that we're having, and getting involved with the group, and then within that group we kind of nominate the people who are going to go out for for the peer review. Is that about right, Matt?
Yeah, so the first step is, the safety committee is grown, grows every month really quick. And so the first part is getting part of the AWCI safety committee as a whole. And hopefully we can get Pete's email up there. But if your company or you are not part or coming to them, our meetings, we have quarterly meetings online, just like this, we WebEx in or what have you. But we meet for about, you say an hour, it usually ends up 2 hours. We always go over. But being part of that quarterly meeting, and then somewhere during that quarterly meeting, this subject will come up. Hey, we got a peer review coming up. Who wants to be part of it? And then you just volunteer there. So getting part of the committee is the main thing, coming to those quarterly meetings. And one of our quarterly meetings is coming up in Vegas at the annual convention. That's one of the quarters that we always have that meeting at. And the other one is at the leadership conference. There's time set off where the committee gets together so we can get together in person. It's not always online. So roughly there's 2 that are offsite online, and then 2 that we get together on. So become part of the actual safety committee and reach out to Pete or anybody at the AWCI, and we'll get you on the email list of letting you know when those scheduled meetings are for.
Are you only looking for members and the safety professionals, or are executives encouraged to join as well?
We don't have anything like that. We don't have who can or who can't. Like we have risk managers. Cheryl is on, and I don't think that we've ever said no, just safety people.
I'd agree with Matt for sure. And I think something to share at our last leadership meeting that we had, there was quite a few executives that felt important to join our group, and it was a great discussion. So yes, I would say we're not limited to just safety professionals, risk managers, executives, people who have interest and want to provide value. That's who we want a part of the group.
Is there a AWCI safety manual or a typical policy and practice manual somewhere that you go off of?
I don't think we do. I'm writing a note down. That's a good one.
We did use kind of a guideline. It was a OSHA challenge, I think is what it was called. We didn't use it by the book, but it gave us somewhat of a path to use. And we are looking to create a manual for best practices. That's Pete Cheney might be able to speak a little bit more to that.
The content for that, safe work practices for long-standing industry construction workers, the content is finished. It's at AWCI now. We're just putting some graphics together and that kind of thing. We'll make that available to you. And you were right, Cheryl. We did use OSHA's challenge program. There's actually several challenge programs. We used the one specifically for construction, kind of as a guide for the review did for South Valley in Colorado.
I think that's all our questions at the moment. So Ed, if you would like to take it away with our upcoming convention.
Thank you, Tal. Yeah, we've mentioned it a couple times already about the expo in Las Vegas coming up in March. Yeah, and we spent some time putting together some of the events that we're having. A construction athlete presentation by Mark Everest. If you guys haven't heard from Mark in the past, I strongly encourage you to sit in on that one. And the next one is to hear from OSHA. Kelly Bates from Nevada OSHA is going to come share and give a presentation. And I think one of my favorite one that I think is going to be of great value is the executive panel, and talking about safety culture and the investments that each one of our executives invest in us to allow us to grow and build a great safety culture. So we've got, and our regular quarterly meeting as well will be there. So a well put together slated event for the safety team coming up at the expo.
Thanks, Ed. And then if you're interested right now with your phone, you can scan that QR code. It'll lead you to our convention page. and you can learn more information about it. So on behalf of AWCI, thank you to the panelists who shared their knowledge and insight about their peer reviews. And thank you to the attendees for joining us today. Hope everyone's well, and we'll see you next time on our next webinar. Have a good day.
Thank you, Tal.